This topic may trigger some people, but a couple of days ago, last week actually, I ended things with my girlfriend, and it was a mutual kind of a walk off. I did a video on that. You can check that out. But dating apps is something that dictates and what modern day people of all walks and ages and sizes are on there, right? And we all know that dating apps can be very, very shady, and there's some really weird things happening on there, as well as some really interesting people on there. But one thing that seems to get worse and worse over time as a pattern is that I see more and more married people on dating apps. And I'm not trying to ruin it for you all married people trying to keep this low key, but I'm also trying to also shed some light that marriage isn't all what it's cut out to be. That's the message I'm getting when I see this marketplace. For example, living proof. One, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a thriving Gen Xer, 49 years old. I've seen a few things in life. This whole discussion about marriage being of something of value is a kind of an outdated tradition. This used to be a thing of the past, right? Back in my days, in my time, this was very sacred. Marriage was a very, very sacred thing where you stay with one person, you say your vows, and the rest of your life and forever till death do us part. But today, it's none of that. It sounds good when you hear it. It sounds very Hollywood when you hear it. It sounds very Disney when you hear it. Although Disney has dropped off recently too. It's what a shame, right? But these traditional values have long subsided. Like it's a yesteryear. It's a pipe dream, and it doesn't apply to today's modern day culture. So when I see a lot of married people, 50% of these women that I come across on dating apps, Bumble, Tinder, Coffee Bagel, Hinge, they're married. Now let me give you another proof. I'm actively in the dating marketplace and I see all of this. I'm not making this up. Las Vegas. Should I say more? When you come to Las Vegas, there's a reason why they say Sin City. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. There's a lot of women out there with the rock on the finger, engaged, married, and the lower tier of a girlfriend, boyfriend. They set their profile to Las Vegas. It gets worse, folks. They have pictures of their boyfriends and their significant other, happily married, here in town for the weekend. What's good? There are keywords in there and their sentences in their bio, specifically customized for that time period. It's almost like they're so out of tune with the fact that you actually took vows. And infidelity is not one of them. So my question is, why are you married? And there's a good chance that a good man put a ring on your finger. There's a good chance that I know if I put a ring on my girlfriend's finger, that's quite a bit of stress on me right there, because all what I've done is I've taken you off the market. All I want is to be with you. That's why I gave you that ring. But you want to be with many people. So why do you want to be married? You're on dating apps. You came to Las Vegas to get plowed by whoever, just for fun. And you're going to go back home, pretend like nothing ever happened. He will never know unless you tell him, or he finds out through XYZ, which is I've seen that also happen. Question is why? Why put yourself through all of this? As I was getting a little bit older, right, my 40s and 45 and 46, I spent a long time thinking that I made a mistake. Like maybe I did miss the boat. Maybe I did do something wrong. But this notion about happy wife, happy life is so BS. It couldn't be so further from the truth. Listen, this channel wouldn't be a complete channel if I didn't drop life stories and life experiences for some of my younger brothers out there struggling. There's definitely a period right now that we're going through, younger men especially. There's some dark times upon us, right, where male loneliness is an epidemic. men are unable to date in a healthy fashion and environment and manner, right? Let alone having a healthy sex life. It's a real thing. And this, I would be remiss to not talk about all of this on this channel, is because this is part of fitness. This is part of health. This is part of your mental well-being. We need each other more than against each other. I've said this over and over again. And this is not a red pill kind of a content either. I mean, there's elements of the awareness. I'm very well aware. And for a bit there, I did take the pill. Yes. And there was that rage period as well, they say, right? The red pill rage. But this is, I am not too far removed because I love women. I have nothing against them. It's just you have to understand their nature. And there's also this thing of who in their right mind today would want to actually get down on one knee and pop the question, unless you want to have a family, you want kids, but even then, there's a good chance she takes your kids, files for divorce, and is incentivized to actually cut the cord. And then someone else raises your kids, meaning that that child has a stepfather. I've seen this as an epidemic as well. This is a pandemic actually on dating apps, is that it's always the guy after. It's always the guy after she meets. So you are the husband. You gave her a baby, your child essentially. You share your child, and then it's another man that's raising your child. And then it causes all kinds of chaos between both men, the stepdad, and the biological father. Like, you don't realize how much a man has to go through to put that ring on your finger. There's so much value in that. Your whole life lays on it. And then you're fighting the government as well. Because the laws, we all know what these laws are like, right? You're essentially inviting Uncle Sam into your home. And once Uncle Sam marries you, your life is not even your life. It's not just a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. I know we've heard of some of these stories before, but like I said, at my age, I have to share these stories with you because there's a lot of truth in this. There's a lot of truth in this. When I was a Gen X, when I was a little kid, in my teens, 20s, right? I was seeing a lot of this even back then. The struggle was real. The struggle was real. There's a lot of men losing their lives, offing themselves because their wife was having an affair with another man. And this is during times when dating apps didn't even exist. But today we have not just dating apps, but we have social media that's also tied to dating apps. So my question is, fellas, what's the rush for? What's the rush for? Are you really missing out? Unless you want the child. You have to be very careful on who you choose to make the mother of your children. And even then, that's still rolling the dice on the rest of your life, because yes, your kids will grow up, and yes, it's a very fruitful thing to have children. I'm not saying don't do it, but you have to take care of yourself too, and you have to be aware before you jump into these situations and put that rock on her, right? A lot of these girls have their hot girl summer kind of a ordeal. And like I said in my prior videos, when they hit the 28, 29, and that 30 starts creeping around, now they want the good guy. Now they want the good guy to save them. Like, right? So it's this has been happening for decades, people. I'm not just saying all of this because I've seen other men talk about it. I've lived through different eras and generations. It never fails. This is why back in my day, fathers were very proud on getting their daughters married. In fact, men who were real good dads back in the day, back then, households and marriages would last a while. But I would always notice that these good fathers would have so much stress on their shoulders to ensure and instill good values in their daughters to get married at 21, 22, 23. Do not delay past 23, 24. I think by 25, if you're not married, There's a stigma there, right? And that's now, I'm not making this up. I come from that environment. I come from that generation. And I think it's good manners, to be honest, on how we were educating our young men and boys to be. And at least back then, we were not fighting each other and there was no gender wars. There was a lot more love. Relationships lasted a lot more longer. But today, these bachelorette parties are even out of hand. I don't care for bachelor parties. It's not, just not my thing. Even if I was to get married or whatnot, I'm not doing it. But I don't find it entertaining. I don't. I'd rather have that session with my wife to be. That's all I want to see. That's the kind of guy I am. It doesn't do anything for me. That really what they want is your money. They don't care about you, man. They don't care about you like that. And it's also what you're feeding your mind, right? So some of these gals and women that you think are wifey material are actually very, very conniving, man. Like I've seen this happen to some of my best boys, some of my best friends in life, and I've seen people lose their lives. I've seen them get raped through the divorce court. I've seen men lose their health because they pull the trigger. If you give them power, with that power comes great responsibility. But in this case, the laws are so one-sided. Why the hell would you want to sign that contract, man? Why? It all changes when you say I do, because that's the best you're going to get. That's the best you're going to get up to that point, because she's on her best behavior, and it just goes all downhill after that. If you don't believe me, look around you. Stay more, attuned to more of the stories. When you go on your business work trips, people are either talking about money, their finances, or their relationships. Almost everyone is either looking for an out, another person to jump off on or with, or just plain just not happy with the person they're with. Some people have quote unquote settled just so they have someone. But where I stand right now, I've always felt like I made the right decision. I've always felt like I could thrive alone versus depending on anyone else. Most importantly, I saw my father, how he suffered so terribly in his marriage, trying to keep my mother happy. He died literally trying to keep her happy. She was never happy. I don't remember her ever saying how happy I am. I don't even remember her being really affectionate toward my father. My father would have to really fight and yearn for her attention, her affection. And for many of you that's probably stumbling upon this video, like this guy is crazy, well, just stay tuned here, because go through my channel to see my story, learn a little bit about it. If you don't want to, that's fine. People are not born thinking this way. I didn't just get to 49, 50, and I don't have a toolbox of stories to share with you. Then what good is my experience if I'm not putting this out there? I'm not saying by all means that once a woman hits 30 or whatnot, it's game. I'm not saying it's game over, but it's just a little bit different, because in the marketplace, the marketplace dictates what we want, what's in demand. As much as each gender would want each other to believe their pile of stories, you know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. The market dictates it, which is why back in the day, fathers were wanting their daughters to get married very young. So some of them would be getting married at 19. Even during my mother's time, my father's time, I think my mother got married when she was 18 or 19. And the age kept getting pushed up as time went. Even in this generation, I believe for women now, they're getting married at 28, guys probably at 32, 33. Every year it just keeps getting extended. What's also happening is that the birth rate has declined. The birth rate has declined. People are not getting married anymore. And I happen to be one of those people. If this is like kind of, resounding with you, and if you feel like this is your cup of tea, then say something, right? Let me know what you're seeing, because I'm telling you what I'm seeing. I'm an older man playing in the young man's market. Not even playing, I'm just existing. I'm watching, there's a lot that's happening. I'm able to teach, I'm able to show you a different perspective from what I'm experiencing in the marketplace. And I'm telling you, a lot of these married women will jump on the opportunity with the right man if they see it. And then this man has to be well put together, if you know what I mean. And some of these, some of them don't really care. Some of them don't really even care about the quality. Some will just be very reckless with it. And then you got to consider that they're possibly coming home with their germs, their STDs. God knows where they've been around, how they've been passed around, right? It's very brutal, guys. And I know for us guys, betrayal is, betrayal can be deemed a crime of passion, because a lot of times I've seen these things end up terribly, where people off themselves and each other, and they'll find their lover, their wife's lover too. This is a very treacherous place to be in. And once she does that, right? Once she takes that step and steps out on you, it's over. And even though she doesn't confess, you will feel it, man. Like, I have been in situations where I've felt it to my core. You cheated. Very subtle signs in terms of how she touches you, how you guys will connect in the bedroom, the sex life, right? Sometimes it could be with the motion, just going with the motion, just to finish it off, versus how it used to be because someone else is in the picture. I felt every one of the without. They're very good at hiding it. Very good at hiding it. Guys, I think we're just dumb. I mean, I've been dumb many times. But they just have a neck for hiding it really well. But you will be able to tell, folks. You will pick it up in the energy, and you have to question it. You have to question that voice within. So, this is what I'm saying is that if you don't believe me, sign up for some of these dating apps just as a ghost profile, and get a gist, like get a flavor for what's out there. I'm not saying cheat on your wife or your spouse. Just get a flavor for what's out there and see it for yourself. They are married couples opening up their marriages to share and watch their wife get plowed out by another dude. Man, how bad are things at home for you to even write that? What a disrespect to your husband. If that's the case, just mutually depart and cut your losses and end it. That's what I would do, but I've done one step better, which is I don't play that game, man. I don't even tie the knot. I didn't even get into that kind of a contract because I don't want to be responsible for anyone like that. I just want to be responsible for myself from that perspective, because otherwise it becomes like a big weight to sort of carry, not just for a season, but for the rest of your entire existence and life. It's unfair for me to project onto my wife that you're going to be my end-all be-all. I operate from a different lens, guys. And the lens that I operate from has paid off long-term, has paid off. Worst case scenario, look at your health. I've just known a lot of men that have lost their health. As a byproduct, they've lost themselves as a spirit, as a person. You cannot make her the primary focus of your life. This gets even worse when you have kids. Like, if she does this while you have kids and after your kids, which is almost predictable these days, that's a tough pill. That's a very, I'm not saying it's a way out, but that's a tough place to be. So let me tie this story up with my breakup here recently. So this is none of this content that I'm making has to do with her. anyway, because I'm actually very happy with or without her in my life. That's the power of solitude. That's the power of being comfortable in your frame and having a good foundation spiritually, emotionally. Is that we dated for a year and a half, and that's a good amount of time. I think this we overstayed about our stay by about 6 months, which is okay. To me, it's a relief that I found all this out now. Like, the pullback, the recoil, and not losing interest. I think she lost interest first, and then I started paying attention to it more and more and more. And then I started pulling away too. Like I could feel my energy. Like there's no way I could keep the facade up for any longer. Then this is because she's not really doing her part. You can watch that video that I did. The cool thing about the best case scenario is that you cut your losses and you walk away. There was no divorce involved. There was no Uncle Sam in my business. Heck, there's actually no laws governing the fact that I have the freedom to walk away. Nothing. That's the beautiful part about just keeping your situationship in a dating mode, in a girlfriend mode. That sense, keep them on the girlfriend mode, because you have the power to walk away without any damage in that sense, if that makes sense. You can walk away at any given time. So why would I want to make this a permanent thing from that perspective, right? If you think about it, I don't. So your best bets are to really not be so dependent on them completing you as a person, or that you even give them the power. See what I mean? Like a lot of this, what I'm saying are thoughts in my head. Like I don't know what I'm going to say next. These thoughts are all coming about through life, a lived experience, seeing a pattern over time. In a way, if you put a ring on their finger today, they almost resent you for it. Because after the wedding day, which is what they seem to, they love the wedding day, but not, a good majority of them are not willing to be the wife for the long haul. And I swear, man, it's always the dude after. I have actually been the dude after in quite a few situations that I've been in, where they're married, they split, or while they're going through their split, I am the guy. So I'm not just making this up, and I've seen this over 2 decades. I have been the guy. Sometimes it's a good place to be, depending on how much you want to invest in it, right? And sometimes it's a situation that can work for you, as long as you don't really go all in and invest and wife her up like that. In my opinion, guys, like, take your time. I'm not saying don't get married. Please find out for yourselves. You guys have to live your experiences. Don't take my word for it. But as an older man, now the temperatures are dropping, so I'm going to cut soon here. But as an older man, you don't just get here and talk about intermittent fasting and talk about your 10,000 steps and drinking a gallon of water and having good quality of sleep. I'm sure people are curious about my life, right? So I'm sharing that. I'm giving you that perspective as an older man. And maybe there's a piece of me that's trying to save lives out there, like in that sense, is that put it out there and see what happens. Put it out there and use your little influence you have, or your little tribe that you're trying to build, or whatever influence you're trying to have in the health and wellness space. But put out your own testimonials, your own stories, and then see what happens. There's no consequences. I mean, in terms of putting out the truth, what consequences, man? I'm speaking exactly what 4 decades of being in relationships have shown me, or rather 25 years, right? And over time, you'll just notice the patterns. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. The wedding day is not for you. The wedding day is for her. And if you look at it this way, if I narrate it, guys, like us guys, we never wake up and say, I can't wait for my big fat wedding day. We don't dream of that day. It's not for us. It's what happens after that day. Bumble happens, Tinder happens, Hinge happens. Hey, I'm in Texas, I'm in Vegas, you're in town. show me around, plow me, only here for the weekend, happily married. He doesn't know. In some cases, he knows. Looking for a third, he knows. Sexless marriage, looking to spice up things. What a sad place to. This is why I never married, folks. This is why I knew something was off about this whole setup, this trap, this whole setup. I knew there was something wrong many years ago, decades ago. I should have known better when my father dealt with this his entire life and then eventually passed away. He actually got Parkinson's and he battled that condition until his final hours. I've done videos on that. So stress has a way of showing up. Anxiety has a way of showing up. And if you make her your end all be all, and you make her that wife, in today's culture and everything going on, I don't think it's worth it. Personally, keep them on girlfriend mode because you can walk away from that anytime. Anytime you want. There's freedom there. And peace. Peace as in set them free. Okay, folks. I am going to cut it here and call it the evening. And ready for some controversial comments if that comes my way. Hey, let's deal with it. Let's be open-minded about it, okay? Let's be respectful, though. Mamba out.